you know, we could keep going through these patterns, and what you're going to find is the same. Of course, it's not a holy grail. Not all of them are going to do this. But if you pull up 20 stocks, you're going to find an overwhelming, percent, over 50%, follow this type of play. And of course, keying off the S&P and then having additional lead time is the point that I'm trying to make, with these plays. So let's see this one. Okay. So I just want to pull up one that that did not work. So I forgot how I found this one. Give me a second here. Oh yeah, X's. Texas without the T. So at 850, right here, actually this one did work. I'm sorry. I was trying to find one that did not work. Hold on one second. Okay. Well, no, this one still worked. There was plenty of time to get into it, and then of course you've got the little capitulation there. Now, was that because of the S&P, or was it just because the volume had dried up? Unknown at this point. But the bottom line is that we can go back at a time even when the S&P is not going one direction. So let's just try something completely different here. So let's go back and set the time frame now to say 2 hours before the close. Or actually 3 hours before the close my time, which would be 10 o'clock. Pardon me one second. Okay, so alrighty, what are you doing to me there? There we go. Okay, so 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, we're about right here in this little area right here on the S&P. Right there. Okay, so I'm looking for something to do here. I'm looking for some bottom plays or some pullbacks. So real easy just to sort by here, or actually it's a really good idea to flip this both times. See what's showing up more. Are you seeing more stocks that are closer to their lows, or are you seeing more stocks that are closer to their highs? Because that could pick your direction. So in this case, if we were to look at the stocks that were at lows or hitting lows, where the volume is starting to dry up and become next to nothing, that's where we would start our process. So right about 10 o'clock, I pulled up CVA. It's just barely off of its lows because we can see a little bit of daylight there. Really pathetic volume on the 1 minute time frame. That's right at 10 o'clock. So here I am. I'm like, that doesn't look too bad. I could put that long on right here, give it a risk down to just below this stopping point right here. And then look, the volume was exhausted. The reversal takes place. And, that was right here. So, 10 o'clock here, right in the middle of this muck, in the downturn, finding some bounce plays because, simply put, the volume is dried up. Now let's go over here to the, make sure I did change that time frame already, didn't I? Okay. Now let's get the same thing over here. $10 o'clock here. Hey, finally, we found a loser. Okay, so G continued its downtrend. All right, even though the volume had exacerbated itself, they're not always going to work. But the point is, every one we looked at based on this metric up until this point worked like a charm. And just like anything out there, it's not a holy grail. But if you start embracing this type of searching activity, resorting the top list by the position in the range and the 1 minute volume, then you're going to find a lot of plays that are good bounce plays. And you don't necessarily have to use those as entry plays. You can figure out, hey, I'm in a good long position, and I really want to keep my eyes on it, and if the opportunity presents itself, I actually want to add shares to this position if I can. And, I was having a training session with a user earlier that was grappling with that. I said, hey, well, you can easily do one of these. If you're in Apple or Google or whatever other stock it is that you're in for the day, and you've got a really good entry and the volume is just off the hook, maybe you're seeing it come through your volume radar. Maybe you're also seeing it come through turbo brakes. So you know that not only is the volume there, but there's something big going on. You've got a really good entry and you're like, well, I really want to find an opportunistic pullback where I can add to this position. So it's really easy on a list like this, looking at everything. We can easily duplicate it. All we have to do is pop in here and use the single symbol functionality, like so. Now, you can use this window just to monitor these time frames on that single stock. You start to see the volume drying up, you're probably going to have one of these, if you're watching it at the top. So when the volume dries up on the 1 minute time frame and starts feeding over into these time frames, that's when you're going to see these, and that's when you're going to see these. Of course, that looks so simple. Just like the catching bottoms and the fading the tops on the standard deviation plays, it's so sexy and so beautiful in retrospect, and everybody wants to do it. But what they don't realize is when they get in there, it's not quite that easy. Matter of fact, it's one of the harder strategies to embrace and be successful with in the markets because, oh, well, I bought this thing when it was down 3 standard deviations. Well, it went down 5 standard deviations before it did what I thought it was going to do. Now, that can get you into a lot of trouble, and on the short side too. Well, I shorted this thing when it was up 4 standard deviations. Well, the problem is it went 7. Right? Now, had you been watching the volume levels, you might get a better idea of when to actually fade that top or buy that bottom. Because clearly, if it's on standard deviation 4 to the upside and it's doing 7 times normal 1 minute volume, you probably don't want to do it at that point in time. You don't want to put that short on. It's only when the volume levels start to dry up. And so, yes, we have volume, not we, but most charting packages have the volume bars down here just like we do. But it's really hard, to see any difference down here. But when you're seeing a pattern like this, and it puts the wick in, and then this next candle starts to form, and you see the, absurdly low volume, that can really give you a lot of confidence that, yes, indeed you have found the bottom for now, or indeed you have found the top for now. All right, so I don't want to bore you too long with this, even though it is highly effective. I know that most people are probably watching me do this, but probably thinking about the AI channel. So what we're going to do is we're going to progress on to the AI channel, and here we go. So when the channel is released, I'm not saying that this will be the final format, but this is where it's headed right now. So for those of you who may have seen the earlier version, or for those of you who have not seen any version of this window, let's just quickly kind of give you the high-level overview of what exactly you're seeing here. Now, obviously we've got all of our columns across the top here, which I've tried to stretch these out so that everybody can read them. So right here, each one of these is an independent strategy. So how many do we have in here right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, about, correct me if I'm wrong, 15 strategies are in there currently. Each one's looking for a different specific event, and each one has specific hold times, which are notated out here. And the direction of the strategy is going to be shown in this column over here. So out of those 15, we've got 1, 2, 3, 5 shorts, and the rest are all long strategies. It's going to tell you the hold time right here, 30 minutes for this one, 4 days. EOD simply means end of day. If you see a time, you know, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, you get out 30 minutes before the close, 60 minutes, 30 minutes, so forth and so on. So long or short, intraday or swing, specific hold time here, and the last time that the strategy put out a signal. And of course, most of these signals are going to come in the first 1 to 3 hours of the day. The longer the day stretches out, the less active the strategies get, unless something really crazy happens. So right here we have the win percent for each respective strategy. And the last symbol that was triggered, you know, obviously AN was triggered 4 hours ago. And it tells you the signal price for AN at that time. So just keep in mind, these are just showing the last trade out of each individual strategy over here. So as some of you may have seen in some of our Wednesday and Monday night webinars, you know, we've really been, you know, pushing the value of the smart stop because it assigns a specific value based, you know, for the stop price based on the specific characteristics of each and every stock. So right here you're going to have the smart stop listed. So, you know, for AN, a 42-cent stop loss was recommended. Now, this is the overall winning percentage for the strategy right here, 55.6%. Let's see, trades today. I thought we had a trades today. This is the total, yeah, total trades today. Sorry, I was looking right at it. So this little guy spit out 45 trades today. And the winning percent today just happened to be 55.6%, which, you know, is right what we were looking at right here. Whereas this one, 59.1% today, spit out 4 trades, still did pretty well, but it only won 50% of the time. And then if you're seeing some of these down here where you're like, man, this one cleaned up, it made a, you know, it won 100% of its trades. Well, it only spit out 1 trade, and it was a winner, so 100%. Whereas these two guys spit out 2 trades, and both of them worked. That's the 100%. Alrighty, so we just keep adding columns, and you know, obviously, probably most people's eyes are focusing on this column right here. So I've got it sorted right now just by the winning trades or the winning strategies versus the losing strategies today. So in this column total right here, we've probably got, let's see, that's about 13, about 17 points among all these strategies total. And on these right here, probably about 7 points in losses. So we're still looking at 10 points net just on the day. But the thing to keep in mind is some of these are multiple day holds. For example, this one. So, you know, these are going to continue to do their thing. But what we're getting right here is a nice high-level overview. And of course, the short breakdown here, whereas we had these 2 shorts perform very well today, this one took a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a beating, but that's okay because 7 points in losers over 17 points in winners, that's a pretty good ratio. And that's what we're looking for when we are, you know, taking trades from a cluster of this nature. Some of you might just be intraday, so the swing trades don't appeal to you. Some of you just might be swing trades, so the intraday don't appeal to you. And some of you may embrace both. So, you know, highly flexible as to the regards in which you'd like to use it. Now, for example, this guy spit out 45 trades. Well, what if we want to see those individual trades? We can easily right-click, say, show me just the trades for that specific strategy. Get this a little bit better of a format so everybody can read it. Okay, so if we just sort this by profits versus losses, these are all of the trades that were issued today. And, you know, it's always nice to see winners versus losers. So we can see these were all the losers. Pretty small losers. I mean, the biggest ones were 51 cents and 38 cents. Whereas if we look at the top of the cluster, $1.44 on FLT. So let's take a look at that. About 43 minutes into the open of the markets. FLT. Ah, no wonder I can't see it. Well, give me 1 second here. I'm going a little blind. 713 usually, I know they're doing some maintenance on the charts, but usually my entry price pops up there. Okay, but it won't be too hard to see here. So 713 today. Would have been right here. Entry in this bar right here. Needless to say, it was a winner. RCL. Let's see. 92.31 at about 30 minutes into the open. So that was about right here. And usually when I double click on these, once again, I apologize that my prices aren't popping up here like they should. But the guy, my programmers took the servers down for maintenance, forgetting that I had my webinar today, so I had to get them to restart. The servers today, so we might be seeing some erroneous times on the chart. In any case, whether the charts are updating properly now doesn't impact what we see right here. So needless to say, things are going very well. Everybody's very excited about this. So if we keep our fingers crossed, by the end of the week, the AI channel will be live, and everybody will get to start, monitoring these windows and taking trades from them. Alrighty, Scott, I think that's a pretty good stopping point for us to take some questions now.
All right, great. Yeah, anyone with questions, go ahead and type them into the questions panel. Let's take a little look back here. Debbie's got some questions about the AI channel, and she's wondering if we're going to have only 3 swing strategies and one of these on penny stocks, but she doesn't trade. I think the answer to that, Debbie, is we don't really know exactly how many longs, shorts, swings, intradays we're actually going to have. It depends on how the market's actually functioning with our strategies, right, Jamie?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, because we're always going to try to keep a mix of longs and shorts that probably just due to market conditions will be more heavily weighted to whatever direction the market is currently trending in. But just keep in mind, there's so many millions of combinations that we're scouring every night. So out of millions of combinations, we're only wanting to end up with the best, 10 to 20 types of events that we can, place that high probability on. But right now there's 3 of the smaller dollar stock strategies that are doing quite well. So, I wouldn't think that these are going to go anywhere for the lower dollar stocks. So, the bottom line is to always have a nice mix of longs and shorts and low dollar as well as high dollar. Now, since people can't readily adjust these on the fly because it would completely change the results of the strategy, like for example, some people have been asking, I don't like to trade the real high price stocks. So I'm pretty sure that we're keeping these within parameters like, I don't know if the $700 stocks I didn't see show up today, and I haven't been seeing them. So, there's probably a little bit of filtering going on the price alone in order to, avoid the stocks that look good in a back test, but that you would never touch in real life because, hey, you might have, the back test might have said, one of these $700 or $800 stocks did well, but if you would have pulled it up at the time, you're like, yeah, but I wasn't going to pay a 4-point spread to get into the thing, right? So we're trying to eliminate all those crazier stocks with the huge spreads and the large prices to get more continuity here.
Thanks. She has a well, along the same lines, I guess. It was asked at the same time, so it's going along with the same lines of what you're doing at the time. She's asking, is the stop an initial stop or a trailing stop?
These are initial stops. The smart stop is.
Cool. Mike likes that we can do
Now,
this without having to have indicators, all the technical indicators, and that is fantastic.
right, and that's one of the the themes that we've been preaching, is that just because you have all these old school technical indicators doesn't mean you have to use them. And that's kind of the whole theme about trade ideas. And what we do is, we're trying to shake up the old paradigm and take information that's been there for ages and reshape it into something that's a little bit more usable, a little bit more predictable.
Just to follow up on when the AI will be available, as Jamie said, hopefully next week. We're probably going to get something out to our referral partners a little bit first, the other educators, and then within a day or two of that, out to the public. So looking toward next week, probably. People are liking these Monday classes, Jamie.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying the same thing.
Here's one from Carl. It says, Dan popped in the chat today and let us know that the AI channel's bases were being changed. Okay, so maybe Carl might have heard something from Dan indicating there might be a few more days on delivery.
Right. Because, initial testing, was showing us that, some of these stocks that were coming through needed to be looked at. So, just gravitating back to my prior comment, we're trying to clean it up and make it as smooth as possible so that everything that comes across is actually a tradable event and not some crazy big spread stock with, 100 shares traded on it for the day.
Thank you. Are the volume radars you use available, maybe in a cloud link?
Absolutely. Anybody that wants those, just send an email to info@TradeIdeas, and we'll get those over to you, no problem.
Perfect. Is this available in eSignal? Mike, TI Pro is available in eSignal, including the odds maker, for $49 a month. The AI channel is not yet, though, and it might take a while to get the AI channel into eSignal, but the full version of TI Pro is in eSignal for a discounted rate. So if you're an eSignal subscriber, you can get it for $49 there.
True.
Okay, with regard to volume radar, is the key to look for degrading volume on the shorter time frames for both long and short possibilities?
Absolutely. Sorry, I pushed that screen. Where did I put that window? Hold on one second. Right, so the degrading volume is always, in my opinion, I can't say always, but most of the times, when you've seen a stock that's turned in a high relative volume number, that means it was smoking at some point in the day. Here we are at that 1 o'clock Eastern time again. When you see a stock like RBY, almost a 2 relative volume, and at that point in the day it already traded 1.4 million shares, and then all of a sudden it's at 0 on the 1 minute time frame, that can always be, of course, it's a small dollar stock. So that, even though the bounce, up and down isn't that big of a thing or kind of a non-event, the bottom line is that you might have to cycle through a few to find the one that's conducive to you. And of course, I'm looking at the lower dollar stocks right here. But yeah, when you see this degrading, and even better when you see the 5 and the 10 minute degrading too, that's a pretty good indicator of a counter move, either coming off the top for a pullback or coming off the bottom for a bounce. And then is that going to be short-term or long-term move? Is all going to be predicated on the volume during that move. So I hope that answered the question.
Okay, well, they'll let us know if it didn't.
Okay.
Are there webinars and videos available to teach me how to use trade ideas, asks Andre. Yes, there are. You can get to there at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/tradeIdeas, and then go to the playlists tab within our channel, and there's a whole bunch of webinars, there's a whole bunch of getting started videos, there's new ones, old ones, tons of stuff, but the best resources are the Hour Power training, which every subscriber gets. As soon as you subscribe, you should go to support@TradeIdeas and click on the training link and sign up for a training course. Also, attend our webinars. We have webinars a couple times a week, and the trading room, hosted by Barry Einerson, is excellent. Just go to forums.tradeideas.com and then click on the trading room banner, and it'll launch. Just it's free, it's great, and Barry runs a really great operation there. All right. So hey, could you pull up that slide with the promo code on it? Yeah, just
Sure.
as a thank you for everyone, I'd like to direct your attention to the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar interface, and you can get a page that has all this information on it too. You can use a code Office19 if you don't currently subscribe to Trade Ideas, or if you want to save 25% off the OddsMaker lifetime license. So that code will take half off your first month, a quarter off your first year, or a full quarter off your OddsMaker license. Even better, we have a 1088 package. So for 1088, you can get the full year, which is $888, the OddsMaker license, which is $1,100, and you get a customized strategy too, all for just 1088. Go to that link. It's bit.ly/capital SAVE 900. It's a great way to save money. That package the 1088 package is only going to last until we release the AI channel publicly. So this is kind of the run up into the end of that package. And it's a great way to get trade ideas and save money. Mike, yes, the odds maker is included with eSignal when you're paying for trade ideas within eSignal. Again, the AI channel is not going to be in there yet, but the odds maker is inside eSignal, and it works fantastic. Everything links with the eSignal charting and analytics, all that good stuff. So, and if you have any questions about it at all, you need to email us, info@tradeideas.com, and we'll help you out right away. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
And everybody, I like to leave, when I have a training session with the clients at Trade Ideas, I like to try to do my best to leave you very happy, right? And people that don't get their odds maker at this price right here before we do away with it, they might be sad, right? Later on down the line. So don't be sad. Take advantage of the 1088 right now, because in a couple of months, you might be sad if you didn't do it.
Yeah, that 1088 thing is not going to come back after we release the AI.
Indeed.
There may be other combos in the future, but they will cost more. So, yep, it is, John. Okay. Jamie, anything else, words of wisdom for him before we leave this week?
About the only thing I would do is say, anybody that wants those windows or needs a little refresher on how to read those volume metrics, by all means you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to go over that with you one-on-one. Other than that, I would just say that those of you who are OddsMaker subscribers, I'm sure you're very excited. You got the AI channel coming up. For those of you who are not OddsMaker subscribers, take advantage of that steal, because basically, it's almost like we're paying you to buy the odds maker and get, in the form of a discount for a whole year, and basically the odds maker rides along for free. But just keep in mind, that's not going to last long. So, if you want to have access to this, make sure you get that odds maker before we release. So you got about another week to act on that.
Yep. Thanks everyone again. Tune in to our Q&A webinar on Wednesday. If you haven't already signed up, just follow the link on the homepage, or I'm sure you've already gotten an email about it. See you guys next week, okay?
Hey, everybody, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. Yep. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.